Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to Women Who Rock with Success, a digital media source for professional and entrepreneurial women. Did you know that we can be found on Google Play, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Sam's Broadcasting, AutoCast, and more? Women Who Rock with Success airs live each Tuesday at 9 a.m. Central Time, followed by our latest brand, Women Who Rock Investigates. We handpick professional women in many areas who can provide credible information in their field to build your business and lifestyle. To learn more about us, just visit our website at www.womenwhorockwithsuccess.com.
Good morning and welcome to Women Who Rock with Success. And this is a wonderful day where we have more entrepreneurs and corporate America women spotlighting their brand. So, and of course, this is your host, Miss Diane Winbush, and we're going to jump start. We have two impeccable women that own a podcast called 210 Podcast, and we're going to hear a lot about them on today in this segment, and then they're going to share their expertise as to the purpose of their brand. So good morning, Carol, I'm sorry, and then good morning, Dr. Steele. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Okay, doing great. So we're gonna start first with Carol, and so tell us a bit about you, and then after you complete, then you can go ahead. Now, did you say your name was Amy?
Yes, ma'am. Aimy Steele.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. I am Dr. Carol Broxton. I am a PharmD. I'm a pharmacist. I graduated from FAMU, Florida A&M University College of Pharmacy, year 2010. So I've been a pharmacist for 10 years. I've worked in the private and public sectors. I grew up in a small town. I live here in Tallahassee, Florida, home of the Rattlers and the Seminoles. And I grew up in a small town just 25 minutes away from Tallahassee, Florida, which is called Crawfordville, Florida, or Wakulla County. And now I am currently married to my husband for 20 years. His name is Broxton. He's a physical education teacher. And we have 5 children, and their ages range from 14 to 22. We have 3 girls and 2 boys, and we live a full and busy life, and there's never, ever a dull moment.
Imagine not. Okay. That's great. That is great. So go ahead, Dr. Steele.
Okay,
like
sure. So as my podcast partner mentioned, my name is Dr. Aimy Steele, and I am a PhD. My PhD is in curriculum and instruction with a focus in urban education. So I get my experience, or have my experience, in K-12 public school education. I was born and raised in Houston, Texas, and traveled all over the world by way of the military, and ended up in North Carolina, which is where I reside now. I went to school at UNC Chapel Hill, so I'm a Tar Heel, and also at UNC Charlotte, so I'm also a 49er, and proud to call the Carolina Panthers my home football team, and the Charlotte Hornets our home basketball team. So as Dr. Broxton mentioned, I also am a mother of 5 and have been married to my husband, Michael, for 22 years. And my children range in age from 9 to 21 next week. And we also have 3 girls and 2 boys. And so currently I just finished running for political office to represent the state of North Carolina as state representative. Although I was defeated, I'm still very much politically engaged, and I engage myself in grassroots organizing. So that's what I do, and I'm an entrepreneur.
Okay, wow, 2 impeccable women. Great. So here goes a 2-part question. one for Carol. The first one is for Carol, and that's to tell the audience about 210 podcasts. And I would like for Aimy to share with the audience as to why you all chose that name.
All right.
So Carol,
okay, I'm ready. So the 210 podcast give us a platform so that Aimy and I can share our experiences as mothers, as wives, as career women that are successful, and we share our experiences so that other busy moms and listeners can hear, different lessons and gems about life and how they too can be successful. So we have a platform where we motivate, encourage, and inspire women that they can do the same, no matter what level or area of life they're in, that they also can achieve this goal of being a successful mom, being a successful wife, being a successful professional woman. So that's what we bring to the table when our listeners listen in to our podcast. It's very fun. It's very exciting. We also cover issues and how we deal with issues in society, with our children, with our marriages, with our careers. And so there's so much someone can learn and take from our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Great.
and
And
so
this would be something.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, to piggyback on why we called it the 210 podcast. So Carol and I met, and maybe we'll get into that later, but Carol and I met at a live podcast recording in Atlanta, Georgia, of one of our favorite podcasters. And when we sat down next to one another, we started chatting and realized that we were two women who both held doctorate degrees, who both had 10 children between the two of us. So we decided to call it the 210 podcast. 2 moms, 10 kids, and let's talk about the journey.
Oh, I love it. Okay. Now, that makes a very good takeaway. That's great, because this is something that women actually need, because a lot of times individuals do not know how to balance and manage their day or their work life or their marriage life or their parental life. They have children. So sometimes people use that as an excuse as to not become an entrepreneur, as not to pursue what it is that they need to achieve. And I like that you all are bringing to the table to individuals and sharing with them that, yes, you can do this. I'm a doctor. We're both doctors. We both got 5 children apiece. We both have husbands, and our children from, 14 or 11 to 22. And think, oh, y'all ladies rock. You're rocking it. Okay. So,
thank you.
So this is a rock. I'm serious. 5 children. Oh, yes, ma'am. That is something to be applauded for, because, as I stated, you have mothers. They walk away from things. They walk away from innovations that they can be able, new ideas. They walk away from it. Oh, I got these children. Oh, I don't have no support. Oh, I don't. It's always excuse. And when we procrastinate like that, that keeps us stifled in many areas. And so I like that you have something where both of you all can be able to share. You can share it with your audience and be able to give them resources, tips, and also lifestyle information as to how to pursue. And if I can do it, you can do it. That's what you're bringing to the table, and so that is so great. So this next question is for Aimy. And so what are some of the takeaways that you want your audience to grasp from your podcast brand? So as I stated before, some individuals, they may not be proficient-minded as to, I need to pick this up and just keep going, even though I may have challenges, I may have setbacks, I may have some indiscretions or what have you, as to how I see myself. Sometimes people have poor self-esteem, and even if they have several children, but that's still not an excuse. Just because we have children is not an excuse to put the torch down and say, I can't do this, I cannot pursue this, I cannot accomplish this, I cannot achieve this. So what are some of the takeaways that you want our listeners, as well as when you're on your podcast, what are some of the takeaways that you want both sides of the listeners to be able to grab?
Right. So great points about, the various types of listeners and what they go through, and self-esteem is huge. One of the main takeaways that we want women to understand is that, we're real women. Like, we have professional careers that we sought. We sought our education. We earned the terminal degree, as many people call it, but we still have everyday challenges just like everyone else. And so we want our podcast to be the type of podcast that people can listen to and relate to immediately and say, I am a professional woman, but yet I still struggle with this, or I still struggle, to get my kids to activities on time, or to provide a daily recommended high-quality meal for my child. It's important that moms have a community, and when women come together and, really rally behind one another and create a community of collaboration, a community of listening, and a community of togetherness, it really helps to move the entire community forward. And so that's what we want people to take away. We also want them to take away this sense of, I can do whatever it is that I'm trying to do. I can still be successful and be a successful mom at the same time, and manage expectations along the way. I think sometimes people think that, they have to be the perfect mom or the perfect wife, or, we do the best we can, but Carol and I share our experiences in a tangible way, but also in a transparent way, so that anyone can relate, regardless of whether or not you are 20 and you just had your first child, or 50 and you just had, you're still managing children in the technology age who are teenagers. We have something for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Great. So in regards to that, so here's a pro and con to that. So here's an example that I would like to share some of the details. And so the question is, how do you empower women that perhaps maybe feel that they don't have anything left? Some women get depressed through postpartum and what have you after having children, and that's the reason why I brought that question up, because of you all have 5 children each. So it was a story here in the state of Tennessee where this mother had she was a successful woman. She lived in a very high community and what have you. I think her and the husband was making like in the 5 or 6 figure digits, but it was something that broke down with having the children. And so sometimes women may feel that they are not pretty or no longer pretty. I'm not for sure what the issue was and things, and there were some things that happened that she did, and I don't want to go into detail to that, and it was in regards to the children, very successful African-American lady, but it was something that broke down with the postpartum. It was a mental issue that broke down with her. So, and it's just ripped the whole state apart and what have you. And if you looked at her, you would say, okay, then this lady looked like she got herself together. But there are some hidden things that drives women sometimes that they do not get assistance for. So how do you empower women that perhaps maybe are going through those stages when they have a lot of children and they may feel less empowered about themselves?
This is Dr. Broxton. I can take that question.
Okay.
One of the ways we really promote education and the healthcare. Self-care is healthcare, and to change the mindset of women to not think, you can look at social media and you can look at other people, and it's just this idea of the perfect woman. We strive whenever we're on our podcast to let people know take the expectation of being perfect off the table, because you're human and you need help. And these are the different resources that you can use or techniques you can use to get that help. And you don't have to wear the S on your shirt to be the superwoman. Being a full, completed woman means knowing when to ask for help. To be a balanced woman, you have to know that and know that it's okay. Get rid of that stigma that you have to have it all together, that you have to have all the answers. No, you do not, because you're human and you're imperfect in every way, but you can perfect your path in your journey by asking for help and getting the help you need, whether it's medication, that's okay. Some people need it. Whether that's counseling, that's okay, because you need it. That makes you a better person, a better mother, a better wife is worth doing than making that sacrifice and taking the risk of harming yourself, harming others, or harming your relationships when you don't have to wear the S on your chest. You're not perfect, and it's okay to take a break, to step away. We talk about in those experiences that we share that, you know what, there are moments that we're not perfect, and this is what that moment looks like, and how do you bounce back? Yes, you can bounce back, and so that's what I love about our podcast, because we inspire women, and we let them know you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be the social media mom. You know, you can take that off the table. You know, that's an idea of what a woman should be, but not the reality of what a woman is. You know, a whole woman is a balanced woman that takes care of herself first, because you cannot give from an empty vessel. If your vessel is empty, you cannot give to your husband and give to your children and give to the community because you're empty. So let's still take care of ourselves first. Let's have self-care, whether that's a pedicure, a manicure, meditation, prayer, whatever it takes for you to be centered. Then you're prepared and ready to take on the challenges of being that mom, hitting that restart button, being that wife, being the community, being that professional woman. You don't have to be perfect. You know, we are human, and we definitely, our podcast gives us that platform to share that with women, to inspire them that they can do it too.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. That is great because, as I stated, sometimes women, they face challenges, and sometimes, I mean, individuals come from different backgrounds, and some people have to have a pat on the back. That's what they feel that they need. And so that's the reason why I wanted to bring that question out. And then I guess the next question would be, do your the podcast, I know that you have the podcast, but do you do like have like an extended brand to what you do in regards to like an initial intake? So if you know, take for instance, if after the podcast is over with, do you have any type of services set up where individuals can be able to connect with you personally for a, you know, I need counseling or I need a mentor or something like that? Do you have those types of services available?
So I'll take that. One of the things that Carol and I are doing, so we just started our podcast last year in 2020, and one of the things that we're doing is we are moving in the direction of interviewing more moms who are more like, you know, America, right? So they look and feel and sound like some of our other moms that we interact with on a regular basis. In doing those interviews, what we're seeing is that people are able to tap into some of the expertise that some of our audience, some of our moms that we're interviewing are expressing, and, you know, some of those specialties that they're really good at. So we are seeing a response from those women saying, hey, can I find out more information? So as we're connecting those women, it is apparent to us that we need to move in the space of coaching and move in the space of mentoring and being available for women for consultations and things like that to help them get on the right track. And maybe like providing life coaching, if you will. Although we hadn't formally started doing that, that is certainly a destination that we're open to going in. And we're also having a mom conference. So we're going to be having a virtual conference this year. And that conference will highlight some of the takeaways that we want people to have on our shows, but also feature some guests who can offer some real tangible coaching around self-care, around financial management, around all the things you encounter when being a mom, organizing your home, cooking healthy meals, you know, taking care of your body and taking care of your spouse if married or your partner. So those are some of the things that are coming in the future so that people can extend with us as we grow.
Absolutely, and I think it's probably going to be coming sooner than what you think because as I was listening to what Carol was saying and things, that's what it seems like it's going to. It's everything is basically seems like it's going virtual, and by it going virtual on a lot of things that we do, such as banking, like here in our area, the banks are not open in the lobby area. It's just open on the either online or what have you. And the school, the education learning, it's going to in church, and it seems like everything is kind of virtual right now. And so people are having depression attacks. They're having anxiety attacks. And I feel that just by listening, that's just me saying this, just by listening, I'm just kind of feeling that that's what it's going to be progressing to. A little bit sooner than you think, simply because of the people. Simple because of the fact that people need this. this is something that they need somebody to. This is the first time I've ever heard where there's that I don't have to go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist and be able to sit down and he or she is able to give me life lesson thoughts, life lesson skills and tools. I can get it from a podcast. Just think about what you're doing. This is powerful, okay? And people are going to, once this gets out even the more, the people are going to attach to your brand as to what you are doing, because there are so many women that need this right now. And that's the thing about it, is that even when we're going virtual, it seems like sometimes it can be difficult to network and connect certain things together. And so that's the reason why I'm here. So I'm going to do whatever I can to be able to, broadcast, your show to let other women, and if men want to listen, they can listen too. We've had men on the podcast too, but in regards to that, people need what you have. They need what you have. I would like to share a little story. I know both of you have your own occupations or fields, but there was a lady that was on the show, I think, back in 2014, and so she was an editor. She worked for the business nightly news or something like that. I think it was through NBC, and so she was on the show back in 2014. And so here you are, you got this big prestigious job, but then all of a sudden they went in and they did a downsizing. And so after they did a downsizing, she had to create a new brand for herself in order for her to keep everything moving. So we just never know how this may come as a full-time occupation for the both of you all. And just keep that up under your cap right there, because this is something that women really are hungry for. I'm serious. You all have started something that you don't know what you probably have started. This is where, I'm a doctor over here, I'm a pharmacist over here, I'm this over here, but this can be a full-time income where it can originate into, a 7-digit annual income. I'm serious, because you just think about what you're doing, and then other people are being charged for this, and you all are offering this to them on a podcast for free. Ooh, so sometimes blessings come in many disguises, okay? Blessings come in many disguises. You just never know how this is going to jumpstart, by you all, because that's the reason why I made the mention what I said in regards to what Carol said. I'm like, this sounds like this is a mentorship, and this is going to, perhaps maybe take off into a total different chapter for the both of you all. So let's move on in things, because I got another show that's coming up in a little bit. So okay. Even with that, are there any challenges that you all may face by being virtual partners on the podcast?
So one of the things that Carol and I first, when we first started, I think our mentor, her name is Patrice Washington, and she, persevered through so many different challenges with starting her podcast, and she was an example to all of us, or to both of us, in terms of what we should do when we started our podcast. And one of the first things we realized was that Patrice used to interview people virtually from, all sorts of places. So when Carol and I first discussed, why don't we do a podcast, it didn't even dawn on us that we would have challenges virtually, and we really haven't had challenges virtually. We started this way, and then COVID hit, and we already were in the swing of working through those technological, hurdles that you do need to work through when you're starting something new like a podcast. But aside from getting our microphones and all of our equipment, we really haven't had any challenges virtually. So we're very thankful for that.
Okay, perfect. So I got a couple more questions for both of you. Both of you can answer this first to Carol. And so what is the next chapter for you with 210 Podcast that you would like to see?
Yes. Everything that you just said, you just kind of like prophetically said so much that was definitely, that's so true. That's the direction we're trying to, we've talked so many times about where we can go with this and the doors that is going to open, and I know it's coming. We just don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We want to take our time. We want people to get to know us, but definitely reaching out in reaching women and reaching out to women, and with our interviews, getting more experts on our platform. Will be coming up in our virtual conference. Will be coming up, and we're also going to introduce our husbands this year on the podcast. Our children are going to be introduced and have their input as well. So it's going to be a family affair, and we want our fan base and our listeners to grow with us and have that relationship with us, and to be a resource for them, like you said. And so it's coming. So everything that you just said is what we've been talking about, and it just sounds like it was just very prophetic. So I'm just so excited over here, and so much more is coming, and we're just growing, and we're taking it in, and we're ready. We are so ready to grow and go to the next level of helping people, reach people, and connecting. Our next step is to connect with our listeners and hear what they need, so we can make sure we're bringing that to the table.
Absolutely, because I just think that this kind of where, sometimes we can speak and we don't even know that some things are coming up out of us. I'll just put it like that. I don't want to don't stop speaking in tongues, but I'm just saying some things that we say, we be speaking it, and it's already in position and ready to happen, ready to take off and what have you, because just like I stated before, this is what both of you all are doing. You're providing services for women where they don't have to go and be exposed in front of a psychiatrist, be exposed in front of a psychologist, be exposed in front of a coach or what have you. They can sit in the comforts of their home and be able to get the tools and the resources and write it down and jot it down. And so that's the reason why I felt strongly as to this is going to be something that is about to take off into another level before you think that it's going to take off real quick. So Dr. Steele, your take on that?
Yes, so I completely concur. As I mentioned, definitely incorporating some coaching and then also some conferences that we plan to, start to organize and things like that. That's in our future. We do plan to expand our brand and make sure women all over the world have access to this very real podcast. And for the record, Carol and I both have therapists. We have psychologists that we attend or go to and, interact with, because that's part of our self-care. But we also go to the spa, and we also do fun things and have fun with our families. So we plan to incorporate more of those types of activities as we continue to pursue our sponsors and work through expanding our brand. So we thank you for prophetically speaking into our lives.
Okay, great. That is awesome. That is so awesome. So the last question is, how can the listeners tune in to your show? How can they be able to connect with you all individually? So if you have any, this is a time where you can be able to share any publications that you have published, books or what have you, any upcoming events that you have, or any social media platforms that you would like to share. You can be able to do that at this time.
Okay, so
we
I'll start. Oh, go ahead, Karen. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so the podcast is on different platforms that you find podcasts. We have the Apple Podcast, Buzzsprout. We also have Twitter. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. And I believe also LinkedIn. And so if you look for 210 Podcasts, if you type that in, you'll pull us up. And through those, and you can reach out to us through those platforms, social media platforms.
Okay.
Yep, and I was just going to say, you can definitely also find me as Aimy Steele, AIMYSTEELE, on all social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. The 210 Podcast.
Okay, great. Thank you, ladies, for being our guests. Listeners, you got all of the ultimate tools, resources of what you can be able to gain from off of 210 Podcasts. The next thing that you need to do is get to it, because I'm going to try to be on there too and listening. All of us, we all can learn and grow together. That's what I try to help other individuals to understand. We are all in this together. This is not a divided thing. And so because I have children too, but they're grown, but we still can be able to listen and share. So thank you so much for sharing your expertise on the podcast on today. And for all upcoming future podcasts, you can go to our website, listeners, at www.womenwhorockwithsuccess.com. You ladies have a great and wonderful day. Hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.